Welcome to the realm of Ayutthaya. The hive mind greets you on this fine day.
I'm going to stop recording.
Oh, don't stop recording. Just leave the recording going. You just cut out the front bit.
No, fuck you.
No, but then now I have to do the realignment again. Just leave it.
You know
recording.
what I do? I fucking soundboard it.
I don't have my soundboard enabled. This doesn't work.
Wait! I have a solution.
No, I'm not.
I have a solution to this problem.
This isn't gonna work. Oh
my God, I'm fairly sure I have like a fucking lizard. Don't I have a lizard app on my phone? How do I not have the? No, I actually don't.
You must have it. Like it must be in like your audio files somewhere because you have it as a ringtone.
Lizard.
Kia ora and welcome to Southern Imperial Diplomacy V2 After Action Report for the Ayutthaya Hivemind. Today is not like the other After Action Reports which I've done, where I have simply just talked to myself or talked to another player who was playing a different country, such as in World of Chaos. But today I'm talking to my duo partner, Strawberry.
Hello! How you going?
Yeah, good. And so we're going to be basically going through the map itself and then going throughout the game. Now, the game lasted for quite a couple of years, I think around 15. So we've got a couple maps to go through, and also, well, this map was just so interesting to play compared to normal Imperial Diplomacy. I definitely have to first give a shout out to the person who did create this map, which was Dander, which is, of course, a subvariant of the Imperial Diplomacy map made by Ella and Flair. This game was started about October last year and has finished about mid-January. Looking at the Ayutthaya position, the Ayutthaya is not just the little power that it is in normal Imperial Diplomacy, because it has colonies. So what we have in the Caribbean, we've got a little colony in Barbados, which frankly is probably one of the best colony positions to have, wouldn't you agree, Strawberry?
That Caribbean colony kind of carried us a little bit. It was very, very good. We didn't get a huge amount out of it, but it was consistent gains just over time that we just held and basically couldn't be broken. It was so good. To be fair, it's one of the best positions there, distance-wise and location-wise, and especially dot centralization-wise. You're not really fought on Tobago, and you're not really fought on Newfoundland, and you gain consistently from it as long as you keep building. So it's like, yeah, it can be really good if you get it going.
Yeah, 100%. And also just, it's surrounded by dots. It is just a dot fest, which is amazing.
Can lead to a nasty stalemate on the Guadalupe line, though.
There was a bit of a nasty stalemate towards the end, but that was kind of in our favor, I think. Going east, we've got Jacob's Fort in West Africa. It's a little one-dot colony. It's not much, and it's starting off with an army, not a fleet, which of course has a bit of a downside. For obviously, we don't really have access to Sierra Leone Rise or Senegal Estuary at the start. It's right connected up to Cays, though. It's then connected to Mali, which in Southern Imperial Diplomacy version 1 was very much a hotspot. So this area was very much presumed to become a bit of a Thunderdome. Then, of course, we've got to look, of course, at the Ayutthaya Hivemind. Well, the Hivemind isn't the homeland. Ayutthaya really starts off in this rather strong, I would say, position. It's 4 dots, which is a lot more than the Mughals 3 or the other Indian colonies, which are 2 and 1. It's more than Netherlands has in Indonesia, and it's more than Spain has in the Philippines. It's definitely a power in its own right. And the amount of dots surrounding it really allows it, I think, to springboard at the start if you get off a good first year. What were your thoughts going into Spring 01?
I would definitely agree with you. If anything, I'd almost say the Ayutthaya position, especially for year 1, year 2, is too strong. Dander probably does need to nerf it very slightly. But if you can figure a way to deal with the 1-dot Portugal colony and the 1-dot Dutch colony and secure that region, you are pretty untouchable in your homeland, and you just have to deal with the Mughals. It's kind of crazy. There's so many expansion routes and such easy expansion compared to a lot of other areas where you have a lot of competition. You have such an open area around you. You can just get so many dots early on.
Exactly. I remember our start when we were talking about where we wanted to go, we expressed a lot of frustration about Andaman Islands with just how annoying it was because there were so many people in contention for it. Obviously, we'll talk about that more when you go into our plans for Spring 01. And for that, we might as well actually go to Spring 01. Regarding West Africa, I think our general plan was just grab K's here,
We
wasn't
just
it?
wanted Ks.
Yeah.
We just wanted Ks. But we also wanted to guarantee that we didn't get fucked over anyway, so Mapak was what we came to. I don't know why we didn't just immediately move Ks, but it was because we
Well, we wanted the opportunity to get Nadak.
Yeah, we wanted Nadak potentially, because that's a much better position for us, theoretically, because we were away from Mali, and we were deathly afraid of the Mali Thunderdome. We didn't want to be in the Mali Thunderdome.
Especially with Bornu, which was a new addition to this map from version 1. It definitely changed the balance of power in the region. I mean, we might as well actually, at this point, actually go throughout the whole map here, just do a quick overview. So in South America, which quickly became very much the biggest area of where most players died, we've got Tehuelche in the south. We've then got Guarani. We then have Aymara over here in the red, a Portugal colony, Netherlands colony, a new power, Kalina, in northeast South America, which was a bit of a dark horse. We didn't know how it was going to play, because it, like Bordeaux, was new to V2. It's definitely a very strong position, isn't it, Strawberry, for Kalina?
I wouldn't say. I don't know. I think South America is a bit of a catch-22. I'm going to be real, because it's whichever one of the bottom three does the best basically becomes unkillable and then starts sweeping. And that's sort of the same way it is in ImpDip as well. A lot of ImpDip games, if they don't stalemate, you'll just see one of the three just eat the other two and then suddenly be massive. And again, that happened this game, where one of them just ate the other two and then suddenly was massive. And over the course of like 3 years, went from like, what, 5th on the leaderboard or 6th on the leaderboard to 1st?
Yeah, there was definitely a bit of an exponential explosion there. Spain did get nerfed slightly with its dot placements, but it was definitely still a bit of a power in the region. The Caribbean, I mean, there's not really much to say. A lot of little one-dot colonies. The French in Saint Martin and Antigua gave some really interesting power dynamics to the region, where you were able to set powers off against each other, which was very interesting for us to do. Looking up at Africa, well, we've got the Ottomans up in the north. Now, Ottomans won version 1 under the player Naxos. This version, they're slightly less powerful, as there were some changes in basically the pathway through to India. However, they're still quite a strong position, but again, they have to worry about their western flank, western North Africa, with kind of Spain being the central power there. They've got Bornu in the south, Abyssinia, and then Congo, all kind of vying for control of Africa, and it's very much whichever out of these three wins probably will win the game, pretty much, as we didn't see.
Yeah, as we didn't see this game because somebody else bet them to it.
Pretty much.
But they were trying. They were trying.
Going back to Spring 01, we plan to move to Mapak in the Caribbean. We're like, let's go Martinique. No dramas. If we get bounced out of Martinique, that's fine. Either way, we keep England from coming south, which was critical to us. And we knew France was probably going to go Cartagena or Caracas. We didn't really care, I think, at that point. It was just like, you know what? France, Kalina, you guys stay in South America. We'll be in the Caribbean. Looking at Ayutthaya itself, really the plan was we decided to go for Andaman Islands, Pegu, Ava, Hanoi, Van Rang, and Rio Islands as our kind of starter set, and then sort of see where we go. If we go to the spring moves, well, actually the fall moves, which is something that's quite interesting in this game, was that unlike normal diplomacy where it was spring and then fall, then winter, we had fall, spring, summer, because, you know, Southern Hemisphere, which definitely did not lead to any confusion throughout the game about where we were in the year.
Oh, no, for us it was great, because that's just normal.
That's just right, exactly. But yeah, looking at the Caribbean, Spring 01 moves, we have us bouncing in Martinique with England, which was just perfect, basically. There was no dramas. That's what we wanted, obviously.
Well, technically we wanted Saint Martin, but like, it would take a bounce.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we wanted Antigua and Saint Martin to fight, but, you know, rather not have Antigua and Martinique is probably the better position, because it means they're not an extra dot. In West Africa, St. Louis moved Nadak, we moved Mapak. There's no dramas here. We were like, cool, we just slide into K's, get that position sorted. We were very happy to see that Kindia and Cormanton bounced in Como in year 1. Because there was a bit of a threat. I remember us talking about Strawberry. We were worried we'd see a Kindia go to Gaber 0-1, and then we'd just be shit out of luck if we were sitting in the pack. Thankfully,
Oh,
didn't
yes,
happen.
yes. No, we did have that issue where Portugal could have fucked us over really badly. Portugal has a really interesting position on this board, actually. Portugal, especially in the first couple of years, plays Kingmaker a bit, where they sort of decide who gets to be strong.
Very much does. If we go to Ayutthaya, however, we have Nikonsi goes into Tunisi, because it's East Coast, and that's to go for one of Riau or Sambas. We've got Ayutthaya that goes into Lanzang to gain access to Hanoi or Phan Rang. We've got Chiang Mai who just jumps up into Ava. We considered going Thaton for going to Pegu, but we decided get Ava now, stop Mughals from jumping into it, because in our early press with Mughals was like, yeah, we're moving Bamo. And so we're like, okay, gonna stop you right there kind of thing.
Yeah, and also we pretty early on had the decision that we were going to fight the Mughals pretty heavily because we wanted the nice positioning along the top of the map.
Yeah, that corner spot, the corner position is very strong, and we didn't want to give that up.
I think as well it's really nice because you can pull everything off the center of Ayutthaya. I think it's probably one of the strongest parts of Ayutthaya is not surrounded by anything once you get rid of the one-dot colonies. So you can just pull all of your units out of your main area, and then they can just act as a wall and as an ever-expanding circle around your main centers, and there's nothing anybody can do about it, really, because they have to push through so much before they actually get to your centers.
Kind of spheres of expansion, almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a bit of a 40k reference there, but that's fine.
Getting the one-dot colonies out, getting Mughals out, just makes life easy.
What was very interesting to see was a Chekakole to Bay of Bengal, Pondicherry to Andhra Coast, and us into Andaman Sea, where we're all bordering Andaman Islands.
Yes. These seas are a pain in the ass. There's a little King Cross arrow, means that they can all move between each other, and it is the worst. We did eventually, and if you get enough fleets into that area, you become unbreakable. You cannot get pushed out, but it is just getting to that position is such a pain in the ass because there's so many different moves you have to consider and so much stuff that can happen. It's like, oh.
Exactly. If we go to the summer, well, I mean, just as we discussed, we're in Ava, Lansang, which was interesting because Lansang, we had to decide, do we go to Hanoi and go for a bounce with maybe not getting a dot, or do we go Phan Rang and guarantee a dot, but not really as good a positioning? With Ava, I bet Ava was always going to hold. Natuna Sea, it was really a decision. Do we go for Cotabato, Sambas, or Riau Islands? I think we decided in the end we'd go for Sambas, correct?
Yeah, no, we went Sambas, but also we tapped Bamo because there's no reason not to tap Bamo.
I mean, there's no reason ever not to tap Bamo. You never want a unit sitting.
This was the beginning of the Mughals getting just clowned on because of the Bay of Bengal that goes into Kolkata.
yes, which is a bit of a spoiler. We were actually a little worried about England maybe going to Pegu and bouncing us out, and then France being in Andaman Islands, and we'd just be sort of locked out, weren't we?
Yeah, no, we were a little bit worried about that, but no, it ended up working out quite well.
Exactly. Let's just go straight into moves. Starting off in the Caribbean, we did a bit of tomfoolery in the Caribbean, I'll be honest. We may have told England, hey, we're tapping Martinique again. If you want a dot, go Guadeloupe. And then we told the Netherlands, hey, Antigua's going Guadeloupe. You should tap them and bounce them out.
Just ultimate shithousery.
Did this screw over England's game? Probably.
Yes, very, very definitively, yes. It very much did. Because not only did they not gain in Montserrat, they gained 1, and then they gained Kolkata. But yeah, they gained 2, in their centres, but they did, no, we're not doing well. England this entire game was having a hell of a time. To be fair, most of that is because they weren't doing press. England this game did not press at all. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was a bit difficult to work with them. What I did love to see, though, is Kalina moving their fleet south. That made us so happy, because we were like, we don't have to fight a Kalina fleet in the Guiana Current for dots.
Joyous occasion.
It was a joyous occasion. So yeah, Barbados is in Martinique. In my pack, we go K's. It was just fantastic. Everyone grabbed dots here. No one was in Mali. Everyone was happy. The sun was shining. We do see a Spain stab into the Portuguese core of Arguin, which is interesting, because Portugal will be back in that area later on. But it was definitely a bit of a shocker that they didn't run into Marrakesh. Over in the east, we have the Bay of Bengal into Kolkata, which was a bit of a shocker. We did not expect that.
Ultimate shithousery. We honestly expected Fleet Bay of Bengal move Andaman Islands with support from the other, or the other way around. We expected the French and England to work together and get Andaman, but they just didn't. And that's a pretty consistent theme for this entire game.
Is that France and England just really never work together?
There was weird signs in spring of year 1 that there was an EF happening, and then it just didn't happen. It was so funny. And of course, we were going around spreading there's an EF happening, guys.
Portugal taking Pondicherry. That Portuguese fleet in Pondicherry probably was our probably most hated units the entire game, on the entire map.
Little spoiler, that fleet never moves again.
Yeah.
That fleet is there turn to
that
the
fleet
end of the
tries to move.
Oh yeah, that fleet tries to move every turn, and it never moves. It never moves anywhere. It's in Pondicherry from fall of year 1 to the end of the game.
Which, you've got to respect. But what we managed to do was to get a support from the Dutch Andaman Islands, which we didn't expect, frankly. We didn't know the Dutch would work with us. We expected them to move Real and backfill. I think at that point we had were like, hey, we kind of said to the Spanish and the Dutch and went, hey, let's all work together. And, if we don't all have a massive Thunderdome here, we'll be able to win everywhere else in the world, which will win for all of us. And I think that's why year 1 Pacific, we did so well. Because we had that Dutch support into Andaman, which, that was just the end of that French fleet, pretty much.
Pondicherry was taken, they couldn't build anything, and that fleet was trapped, and there was no way it was getting anything, because nobody was working with the French at this point.
But we grabbed Sambas, which is just another dot to leaderboard. Fanrang, we played safe. Portugal not going Hanoi. To this day, I don't know why. I'm going to have to look back at press after this, whether we said something specific. But I didn't expect
I don't think we did. Because, no, we were making them offers. We were saying that we would, leave them alone everywhere else if they would, we would give up our colony in Africa,
we were going to trade our West African colony to them, I think.
We were going to give them our West African colony so they would get out of our centers.
Which is ironic in hindsight.
Yes, really ironic considering that West African colony.
And then Ava taps Barmo, and it was like, wow, we've got a double. Oh, yeah. Double year 1.
Yeah, right. Portugal switched out at some point, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, it was originally Me 18.
But otherwise, Ayutthaya in double year 1.
Yes, no, we doubled year 1, which was fantastic. It was amazing.
Which then, of course, led to the sad conclusion that we had to figure out what we're going to do for builds. Looking at builds, it was pretty simple. Barbados only builds fleets. It will only build fleets this game. That's its job. It is the fleet factory. It is the fleet factory that we will keep running.
We suggested the Pondicherry move. Oh, that makes it even more ironic.
Did we actually?
Yeah, you said easy snipe on Pondicherry.
There we go.
That makes that so much more funny, actually.
Yeah, hindsight's a bitch.
We caused the most annoying thing to happen us the entire game. Oh, fuck.
Well, to be honest, I honestly think the French not being there probably actually helped us a little bit.
It did early on, 100%, but also, god fucking damn it.
Yeah, so we had a Barbados fleet build. We built Fleet Jacob's Fort. You might be wondering why, but then you notice every other power that got a build built a fleet. And that was because Senegal Estuary touches 4 dots. And everyone wanted a piece of that pie. We were not going to be the one who would miss out. You'll also notice a lot of armies sitting around Mali. What's different from Southern Dip version 2 to Southern Dip version 1 is that Bornu exists. In version 1, Ottomans could come south and go straight into Mali and crush West Africa. Now, they have someone who's very willing to go north into them, as we'll later see. Otherwise, nothing too crazy, honestly, happening in Africa. All the powers, no one's gone into the Congo Basin yet, which is something I should mention. This is a high sands tile, I believe was the agreement. Or high plains, I can't remember. Where multiple armies can move in. Again, very similar to Imp Dip rules. This game, I don't think actually had any rules separate to Imp Dip.
Well, no, I don't think, it didn't really have any custom rules at all, I don't think.
No, which is kind of nice, to be honest. In terms of our other builds, it was armies in Chiang Mai, armies in Ayutthaya, Fleet Tavoy, Fleet Nakhon Si. Our overall plan, I think, this year was clean up the dots, get that Riau Island, gain control of that there, maybe start thinking about getting into Sumatra, start putting pressure into India, and also start cleaning up China, really getting that area sorted out.
Yeah, and
if we go to moves,
remove Portugal was our big
basically remove Portugal. It's a bit like Safavids in normal Imperial diplomacy with the colony of Muscat, where the Safavids have to remove the Portuguese to win, and it's just a fact of life. Going into moves 02, we did have a slight shit our pants moment where we had Arawak and Rakuin move into Gulf of Paria and the Guyana Current. This wasn't to plan. We did not want this to happen. it caused a bit of drama. We bounced out Caracas out of New Courland, but at the end of the day, we got Tobago. In West Africa, we got, again, supported by the Dutch against the French, because the Dutch and the French were not besties. They're not on each other's side. And you might be wondering, why weren't they on each other's side? The simple answer is, the Dutch and the French were fighting over the South Pacific the entire game. Between Australia, South Africa, and Indonesia, there was always something of theirs having a fight. And so they were very willing to help us.
Oh, yeah.
So what did we do? We decided, Kazdim pack. Yes, I remember.
I would like to comment on this.
You could jump in here, yeah.
I would like to comment on this. This was the first instance of the Hivemind disagreeing on which side of a move to go on, and the one who, quote-unquote, lost the disagreement was in fact the correct one. We had this happen so many times where me and Dyer would disagree on which way an army or a fleet should move, and then the one that ended up backing down was the one that ended up being correct. It happens over and over and over again this game. It's just glorious. And this was no exception. I wanted to move the army to, what was it, Fulani, or Kalani, or whatever that one's called, and Dyer wanted to move Mapak, and I kept saying, no, I want to move Fulani, because then we get access to both French centers. It'd be so funny. And then Dyer's like, but if they move Mapak, then we're not going to be able to protect Jacob's fort. And I was like, oh, fine, but I want to be aggressive. And then so we ended up moving Mapak, and of course they moved Fulani, and it doesn't work out well for us.
But then I think, again, at the same time, we have Portuguese fleet in Gaba. Yes. Which is a bit like a, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Looking east, nothing honestly much happens, I'm going to be honest. We do a little bit of maneuvers. Mughals don't force out Kolkata, which is something I still don't know why they didn't.
This was the one year we didn't prevent them from doing it as well, which was the funniest thing. This was the start. Us getting that Chiang Mai army up into Ava and the Ava army into Yunnan was the downfall of the Mughals.
Oh, yes, I remember, because I think we lied to them, didn't we?
We lied to them for something. I don't remember what it was. Maybe we said we were going to move.
Was it that we said we were going to go Meruak? I think.
Yeah, I think it was. I'll check. Hold on. I think it was that we said we were going to go Meruak.
But a lot of this point is us basically making supported moves or making bounces to try to gain position. As we're trying to get position on Hanoi, we're trying to get position on Bamo. Once again, another time where we've just lied, which I think was actually quite useful. Us being a hive mind being that we were two players. And so that we were able to kind of good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
In terms of other plays that happened here, there was nothing really that interesting. We have a Tawache fleet that somehow ended up in Halmahera Sea. What you don't see is the Spanish fleet in Chilo, which ends up there at the end of year 1. It causes chaos for Tawache for the rest of the game.
That Bamo thing.
Yes.
We were telling them we were going to help them, and then on the sidelines we were helping fireboard into Bamo.
Oh right, yes, because we were like, we said to the Dutch, hello. And then
move Formosa to Hugwang, and we'll move you into Bamo.
Just for shits and gigs, I think.
Yeah, just for shits and gigs, yeah. And then, it was awesome.
I don't think it was for shits and gigs. I think the idea was that if we supported them into Bamo...
They were going to support us into something else.
Or it would be like, we would be less guilty, I think. It was something like...
Well, no.
They would support us to turn away.
We were trading a centre for another centre. I know that.
I think it was... It wasn't Riau. It was somewhere we were trading.
It might have been Guangxi. It might have been Guangxi or Hainan. They were going to like provide a support with the army or something.
Yeah, there was something going on.
Or maybe it was for them to vacate Formosa.
Yeah, there were a lot of deals being made then, I think.
Because we were trying to oust the one dot colonies.
Yes. We were actually, I think, being quite nice about it, honestly.
We were trying to trade one for the Portuguese, and then we were trying to be nice with the Dutch and try and move them out easily.
Oh, yeah, that was our agreement. We were like, we'll push you into Bamo and keep supporting you into India, but, like, you're just going to get the fuck out. going into spring moves, because we have to remember opposites. Caribbean, a bit chaotic. We support Kalina into New Courland, because what's worse than having Kalina there is having the French there. Were us and the French besties? No. And I think, yeah, the Tobago supporting Gulf Prior, that was basically us promising them a dot, so we knew they wouldn't take Tobago. We moved Barbados to Martinique to open up Barbados for another build. You'll quickly notice, and I think it's something that we'll definitely comment on throughout the rest of this video, is that Barbados spends its entire game trying to open itself up so we can give birth to another fleet.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
All of our moves are predicated on opening Barbados up.
All of our Caribbean moves are how can we open Barbados to build another fleet. Yes, very tasty. Another.
Other than that, what's going on? We see kind of a bit of a roundabout. We have Dutch get into Antigua, Montserrat get into Saint Martin. It's all a bit kind of confusing. The French get into Guadeloupe in the end.
I remember with the Hivemind army, because we got them to move out of Formosa. They'd support us into Guangxi from Yunnan, and then we support them into Bamo, was the idea. Also, the Ava tapping Bamo saga begins.
Yes, but I think we'll come to that, and we'll first look at West Africa, where we have a balance in St. Louis, and we have the French fleet that goes from Fulani to Cays. This French army that ends up in Cays, I think, once again, stays there almost the entire rest of the game.
It is there until, I believe, 2 years from the end of the game. Yeah. And we are in Jacob's Fort with that army until 2 years from the end of the game, both tapping each other, more or less, for the whole game.
It was the Hyper War.
Yeah, it was the Hyper War.
But it was great. It was a civilized Hyper War.
Yeah, civilized Hyper War, where neither of us were doing anything.
Yeah, pretty much. Other than that, in Spain, I think we were trying to work with the Spanish as well. This was the point we were still working with the Spanish, and we were kind of going, hey, you moved down to Sarawi, like, we can maybe support you into St. Louis. Or you could support us into St. Louis. Let us help each other out, kind of thing. Looking at India, once again, Bamo is tapped by Ava. Bamo doesn't force out Kolkata, which I believe we did the tap on Bamo to make sure that Orissa couldn't force out Kolkata, I think was the idea.
Yes, because it was either Orissa is the one to move, in which we cut support, or Bamo moves and then we get Bamo. So it's a great.
It was a win-win, really, for us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what you see here is you see the French work with the Portuguese, which is something that does happen again and again and again going on. We definitely have an FP form against a Netherlands Ayutthaya Spanish alliance. We also see Portugal walking into an English centre that's not covered, which happens multiple times.
Yeah, for some reason Hyderabad holds instead of just tapping Masuli. I understand they were trying to get the.
They were dislodged at the end.
Yeah, and the thing is they were dislodged anyway, so it's like they should have. Yeah.
They lost out on 2 dots there instead of losing only 1, which is a bit of a disappointment. Otherwise, we have a bit of a crazy situation in Hanoi where we dislodge Hanoi but bounce out of Hainan.
Well, no, we bounce out of Guangxi because of the.
We bounce out of Guangxi. Apologies.
Yeah. Because Guangxi gets bounced from Hanoi, then we also get bounced. So then Hanoi stays where it is, but then it gets dislodged. So then it's hell. It's hell, because that can retreat into Lanna, and then that's going to be a massive problem, basically.
Pretty much. Otherwise, nothing really to say here. Nothing. We do see Spain take White Island. I think at that point we thought it was agreed, or it was agreed. I think was the Spanish take on White Island, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I remember us being told.
Well, oh yeah, this is also the year that the Spanish sneak into Chile.
No, they were in Chile since year 1.
Oh, okay, right. No, they did. That's right. They did that immediately and then started coring.
Which is a bit of a BM.
Yeah, which is a bit of BM, but it's also hilarious.
We also see the French and the Portuguese sort of have a suicide pact in Australia where they hold each other against the Dutch. Which, I mean, hey, if you're going to be in an alliance, you're going to be in an alliance, I guess. You work together. Moving on to builds. Shock horror, Barbados builds a fleet.
Which you'll see very, very consistently throughout this entire fucking game. We just build.
Nothing happens in West Africa, apart from a Portuguese army. For us, it's fleet time, baby. Fleet Tavoy, Fleet Malacca Strait. I think at that point we had agreed we were going to go for Dutch.
I will say, big point of note, Portugal decided to disband their Hanoi retreat, which was huge.
Which I think that they just realized that we were going to win. And they then built Fleet Cochin, which is something to note. I will also note for the record, Pondicherry did move out at that point. Pondicherry will come back.
Yes, it does. Oh, right, no, it actually does move again. Oh my god.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
I mean, our goals this year were basically get more control of Bay of Bengal, get control of Hainan, get control of the Guangxi Hainan area, get into Sumatra. Looking at moves. So this is fall moves. So this is, once again, the spring move, so to speak. In the Caribbean, we're working with the Dutch here. The Dutch lose Puerto Rico, which is open. Nothing. We don't get into Guadeloupe. It's all a little bit sad. In West Africa, the Jacob Fort K's bounce starts. This will not stop. We see Gaber move back to Kindia to try to help them fight the English off, while Spain is supported by us in St. Louis, which I think was our idea, basically to reward Spain for basically just being a good ally at that point. Over in the east, we had some very interesting things happen, where we're in Bay of Bengal, we're in Andaman Sea, we've started a core on Andaman Islands, we're in Malacca Strait, which definitely gave some concern to the Dutch, probably quite reasonably. We've got a fleet in the Tuna Sea. We'd at that point made a DMZ between Sambas and Banjarmasin to basically be like, hey, none of us go here, we don't want to start trouble. Phan Rang moved up to Paracel. We then have a situation where Yunnan goes to Guangxi, Hainan goes to Huguang, Huguang goes to Bamo, and the support on Orissa going to Kolkata is cut.
Again. Well, for the first time, but in essence.
Again.
But I think the best part about this is what that means is the Formosa, getting the Dutch nicely, quote unquote, out of our area happens naturally. It's great. We get the Portuguese to do our dirty work for us without the Dutch even realizing. And it's complete accident that it happens. It's fantastic. We can destroy the Dutch colony and then go take it without the Dutch being mad at us because they didn't own it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it sort of just really played in France. And we also then, at that point, had a free take on Hainan.
Yes.
So it was like, oh.
And we're destroying the Portuguese colony at the same time.
This was just I think this was another banger year, honestly.
Banger
year.
Yeah, no, this was a fantastic
Caribbean, not as great, but, not too bad. Going into fall, look, is Barbados staying open to get another build boring? A little bit. Did we do it? Yeah. We also see Helena move out of New Courland into the Gulf of Paria. To this day, I'm not entirely sure why they did that. I think they were worried about the Dutch. They just kind of left.
Well, no, this was the beginning of the great downfall of Helena, because this was when Aymara started going, army. What if I moved north? and then Kalina was just like, I can't do anything against that. And also Spain was fighting Kalina, and also the Dutch were fighting Kalina, so Kalina just collapsed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we see the English get supported by the French into Antigua, which was interesting to see. Bit of an English-French alliance again also started to form.
Yeah, which sort of never went away, annoyingly, as much as we tried.
Probably because they just never pressed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In the east, certainly we supported Senegal into Nadak. We were very happy by this. This filled us with a lot of happiness. We got Nadak. Yippee! I will also note that this is the fall move. So even if Nadak retreated somewhere to, let's say, Mapak, it couldn't then... Oh, sorry, not in the fall move, sorry. Yeah, the spring move, sorry. So it's the full move in terms of normal Imperial diplomacy. But it basically meant that Nadak then, in the same year, go into a support on Jacob's Fort, which was very nice for us. Other than that, we really just see this, it's pretty much the slow downfall, I say this, of the English and the Dutch colonies in Africa, because they are beset by Congo. So at that point, Congo and Bornu had an alliance. And so they were both working together going in. And then England was just stuck in the middle and just kind of not really living. What we haven't shown is the collapse of the Ottomans.
Yeah, which was faster than I remember it, if I'm going to be honest. I don't remember it being that quick.
Abyssinia and Bornu kind of just blitzed them. I'm not sure if they ended up having a sub at one point, the Ottomans, but they sort of just kind of lose everything, and we're not really sure why.
Yeah, well, the thing is they folded a bit, yeah.
Yeah, they just sort of folded a bit. The tactics obviously just didn't really work out to plan.
I think that combined, they ended up getting attacked by two large people who had a lot of armies going north, and they didn't really have many dots to expand to. I think that was the big problem with the Ottomans in this game, is they didn't have a huge amount of dots that were theirs guaranteed because of the new placement of Mr. Mustard Yellow.
Mr. Bornu, yeah.
Mr. Bornu, yeah.
Well, I mean, we might as well look, because this is pretty... critical.
The funny begins.
Now, to note here, for the last 2 or 3 years, myself and Strawberry have had a multi-year disagreement in our voids, or maybe not disagreement, maybe more of a conversation about between Spain and the Netherlands, who we side with.
Yeah, because we were very much planning on stabbing them, one of them.
At this point, Spain looks like the dominant power. They're doing well in North Africa. They're doing well in South America. Are they maybe losing a little bit to Weimar in South America? A little, but they're also gaining. And they're also about to become our neighbors in South America. And we're like, let's stay allies. The Dutch, on the other hand, were losing position in the Caribbean. We're losing position in Africa. They looked like they were on the out. And so we decided, now's the time. They left Sumatra open in their first move of the year. We took advantage of that. And we moved Sambas, and we moved into Sumatra. Not entirely sure what our lie was for why we moved into Malacca Strait. It was probably bullshit. Fireborn probably knew.
I remember, actually, because we said that it was the only place we could move that wasn't Andaman Sea, because Andaman Sea was already taken, that we were able to move into Andaman Islands, because Andaman Sea was going to move into Undercoast.
Yes. At that point, we had finally gotten the core of Andaman Islands, which then started the very long process of us trying to get builds out of Andaman Islands through whatever means.
I will say, Andaman Islands, the core, we got one build. I said, if I remember correctly, got one build the entire game.
I think Andaman Islands, the position.
Oh, the position
was more important to.
Incredible.
Which then probably leads us back to that Spring 01 conversation we were having about how we really didn't want France to get it.
Yes, very much so. But to be fair, one thing I will say, Andaman Islands, us having it is basically an unbreakable position. Andaman Islands, anyone else having it, is very easily broken by us, which is really dumb with this ocean layout. But we have incredible strength over the Indian, like the northern Indian sub-ocean area. We have such incredible foothold on it that no one else can compete with, just because we can pump out 2 fleets every year into that area. And they're all interconnected, and everything is just super holdable. So once we get Andaman, and once we get Bay of Bengal and Andaman Sea, we never leave. Like, it's impossible to get us out.
Pretty much, as long as there's not a fleet in Chicacole, Orissa, Kolkata, we're fine, because they can't break the Bay of Bengal support. Looking elsewhere for moves, Portugal goes to Formosa. That, for us, was just like free win. Netherlands loses the dot.
Netherlands
in the same year we find a stab.
And also note, to prevent the Netherlands from offsetting the loss of Formosa, and also to prevent the Mughals going Pigu, we offered them support back into Bamo.
Why they accepted this?
Why they actually accepted that, I don't know. But they did.
We then also supported them into Kolkata.
We also supported them into Kolkata. Maybe we did that. Maybe we said that to sweeten the deal. I can't remember, but we did.
I think we offered one, and then we offered the second one. I think a big reason was we just didn't want that fleet there, and at the same time we were like, if Mughals is in Bamo, they're easily kick out a bill with our armies. Rather have them there than a Dutch fleet going wild.
Paracel Islands was made just in case there was some shenanigans with Portugal, but then it wasn't, so we ended up moving it back down towards Fangrang, and it will become very important.
Yes. Looking at builds. Crazy. Barbados built an army. No, I'm lying. It's just a fleet.
Oh my god. Imagine we built an army. I argue army there is not terrible.
I mean, my biggest concern with army was that it would get stuck in the Caracas, New Courland area. And also, our goal was never really South America. Our goal was always that, like, this Caribbean line.
It was always pushing past Guadalupe up into Puerto Rico and St. Martin and getting that entire set of 8 dots.
At that point, we had agreed that Kalina would die. And so we're like, we're going to grab New Courland. That's the plan. Looking east into West Africa, everything looks kind of safe. It's just Jacob Fort versus Kays, Nadak and St. Louis next to each other. And Cabo Verde is open. No Dutch build. Well, no Dutch core, to be more specific. In the east, Andaman Islands build. It's only one I'll ever do. We have a Nakhon East Coast build. Chiang Mai Army. Now, Chiang Mai Army was built in the very unlikelihood that we had a Dutch retreat. In the end, it also kind of worked out as a way for us to force the Mughals out.
Which was fantastic.
What was the most interesting thing, though, was Portugal disbanding Formosa, which created a situation where we could take Formosa for free.
Yeah, we just walked into Formosa. I forgot about that. I completely forgot. Yeah, because Portugal was losing dots somewhere, weren't they? Where were they losing dots? Oh, they lost South America. That was it. They lost South America.
Right. They lost South America at the point. And they also disbanded the Maldives as well.
And they were also losing a bit of the South Africa as well because of the giant Congo at that point.
At this point, the position of Africa was a three-way kind of stalemate between Congo, Borno, and Abyssinia, with Borno and Abyssinia basically taking a lot of the Ottoman land, while Congo was slowly eating up the South Africa. I was really happy that we got Formosa, to be honest. I was really happy that Formosa existed. I was like, cool, easy win. And it also, I think the most important thing about it was, it meant we could use an army to go fight Mughals quicker, which was, I think, our happiest thing about it. I think at this point, us and Mughals were back again to be besties, but we were not besties with them. We were plotting their downfall at every opportunity.
From day one, we were just like, Mughals are dying, and there's nothing that they can do to change it.
I am wrong also. Chiang Mai was a convoy plan.
Yes, Chiang Mai was a convoy plan. Ava moving to Murawak was a convoy plan, but Chiang Mai moving to Ava was not a convoy plan. That was a particular.
And I mean, at that point, let's go to the fall, or should I say, spring.
But
moves.
Also, I would like to note, the previous year, more Spanish terrorism in Argentina, taking Celcam.
Yeah, it was a bit sad to Cherry, who was playing Tehuache, who was a lovely human being. I think it was their first game as well. And they were just getting a little bit bullied. I also believe this is pre-Spanish sub-out.
Yes, this is pre-Spanish sub-out, yes. Well, sub-out is not the right word. Progression over to duoing with a focus on the new player.
That's correct.
This is still Rooster in Spain.
Yes. Going back to spring moves, we left New Courland alone in spring. I'm not entirely sure what our entire reasoning was, but it was basically to try to clear Barbados. I think it was that we could do it at any time, or that we wanted to do it in fall, but we wanted to keep hold of Martinique in the first place.
We wanted to attack Guadeloupe, and to take New Courland, we would have had to sacrifice an attack in Guadeloupe. So we did the attack in Guadeloupe instead.
In West Africa, Spain went to Bay of Nouadhibou. We went to Senegal Estuary. This becomes a very interesting move later down the line. You'll notice that the Portuguese army in Idjil is still here, still causing chaos. Looking east, free move into Huguang. Barmo taps Ava, but we bounce them out.
Yeah, with Chiang Mai. Thing to note as well, the English disbanded their fleet, which, well, it was going to happen, but I had a suspicion this year that in the year that we were playing this, that they were going to move Murak so they could move Pigu, which would have been a massive pain in the ass for us.
We also got into Chicacole. Well, because we could, I think was our reasoning. We see here, England tried to take Hyderabad back, Penaroo get collapsed. The Barmo tap on Ava, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I remember us having this conversation where I said we should tap Ava, and I remember you were pushing for that on. I mean, Phanerang goes to Cambodia.
Sounds like a very us thing to do.
Sounds like a very us argument to have. I think I remember, we had this whole thing about whether we should support into Huguang or not, and we decided better for us to go to Yan'an and Huguang, so if we get bounced out of Huguang, oh no, they're not there. But if we're in Yan'an, because if they get into Yan'an, we have to defend Hanoi.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we go into Yan'an, and it just sort of worked out okay in the end. Down south, because now we actually have to look at Indonesia, nothing really happens. We just kind of move units. It's kind of a bit boring. We see the Spanish start a campaign against the Dutch. Spanish were a little bit tricksy at the start of this, where they went, we'll join you against the Dutch, and then kept delaying. So this was nice to see. Finally, an anti-Dutch move.
The year we stabbed the Dutch, we were trying to get the Spanish on board, and we were trying actually to get quite a few different people on board. I think we ended up messaging most players that weren't the Dutch and going, hey, would you like to take this random Dutch centre? We can give you support into it. We can arrange for someone else to give you support into it. Like, you should take this Dutch centre. No, for no particular reason. I'm not telling this to anyone else, but you should take this Dutch centre because we'll give it to you.
Which was a little bit silly.
Yes, but also it worked. It also worked. They lost. I think Dutch went like -6 or something that year. It was amazing. It was fantastic.
I think, honestly, one of our best advantages we have here was that we never tried to fight over Australia. Because if you look, there are so many fleets invested in Australia. But we also see probably the Dutch's best unit of the entire game, which was the army that moved to the outback, that won them the game. Well, won them their part of the game.
Yeah, it definitely won them Australia, that's for sure.
Because if you're the only power with an army there, you control all the coastal dots. No contest, almost.
This is also, I think, where we started making one of our biggest mistakes, which was not trying to get something into IO. We for a very, very long time consistently didn't bother trying to get into fleet into IO, and it was a big mistake, and it bit us in the ass really hard.
IO was always crowded, and I think at that point, because we had stabbed Sumatra, we were more worried about holding Sumatra.
We did spend too much time worrying about holding Sumatra rather than trying to attack out from Sumatra, I think, which was another thing.
Well, that was, I mean, I'm currently showing the next map, not of moves, but of positioning, and there's 3 Dutch fleets lined up on Sumatra. So, it is what it is.
It's weird because we did the year of stabbing on the Dutch, then we became really passive with the Dutch for like 4 years, and then we let them regain position and then started stabbing them again. It was really strange.
I'm not sure where we were at this position. I don't know if I think we might have pieced out, honestly, at this position. I'll have to look at the moves. No, we hadn't pieced out. I just looked at our full moves, and we hadn't pieced out. I think that's the next year we pieced out. Now, this is the critical point where we decided, fuck Spain. Why did we decide to fuck Spain?
We did a pivot 180 from the Dutch to the Spanish. It was kind of funny.
But at the same time, we were also still fighting each other. It was really random. Let's start in the Caribbean, first of all. Barbados moves to New Zealand. I wonder why we moved the Barbados unit out. Who could guess why we moved the Barbados unit out, Strawberry?
Who would get... an army. Yes, of course, an army. We built an army.
Sounds like it. Sounds alright. We just do an attack on Guadalupe. Nothing happens. Honestly, we were okay with it because we got New Zealand. A dot's a dot, baby.
A dot's a dot, and that gives us another fleet in the Caribbean.
Now, what was interesting here was, at this point in the game, we decided we have to go against Spain. In West Africa, we go, hold on. Instead of supporting the Spanish into Cabo Verde, which would lead to our new opponent having Cabo Verde, what about if we just go into St. Louis? Which results in the Dutch and the Spanish bouncing each other out of Cabo Verde, us in St. Louis, very happy.
Yeah, very good outcome for us.
Otherwise, looking elsewhere, again, the Spanish, still thinking we're besties, supports us into Banjarmasin. We were happy to take the support. We weren't complaining.
No, not at all. Especially while not convoying into their backline.
I think we traded the Banjarmasin support for the fake support into Cabo Verde, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
At the same time, we convoy into Cotabato, and the Dutch take Cebu.
Which is just devastating.
Which is crippling to the Spanish. Up in India, we support the English into Raichur. I think at that point we were just trying to mess around. I think we messaged England and were like, hey, we're throwing a support. If you want to do the move, do the move.
We wanted to delay the Portugal expanse in the south of India. And to our credit, it worked. Because they didn't really expand past that point. That's about the expansion of India for Portugal that you'll see for the entire game. They never really got past that point.
And we will also note that the Pondicherry fleet held.
Yes.
Why? Instead of just tapping us? Yeah.
It might have cored, actually. It might have done no, that's the first year of it coring.
Yeah. Looking elsewhere, you'll notice we didn't take Formosa. Because we were like, Formosa is a captive market. There is no fleet contesting us for Formosa. Let's just support into Bamo.
Yet again, smash the Dutch. Sorry, no, they're not the Dutch, they're Mughals.
Once again, stab Mughals.
Stab Mughals, yet again. Put in another knife.
Chiang Mai goes to Ava. We're happy. Position means Bamo can't retreat there. Mruak is supported into Kolkata, but Bamo moves to Mruak. But it wasn't, I think if I look here, it wasn't even supported in. So did they bounce each other out? I can't remember.
No, because we dislodged them, so technically it didn't bounce, I believe. They ended up in Mruak.
But what I think is so critical here is that Bay of Bengal fleet. If that was a Mughal fleet there, whole different story this game.
Oh yeah. But because of England doing a little bit of trolling, they never got it.
0-1 take on Kolkata.
They never got it.
Did we message England about Kolkata?
No, they just did that.
Yeah.
They just decided that that'd be a great idea.
What brilliant rat plays from England.
Yeah, year 1 rat play that made us have an insanely good position.
Yeah, I mean, and then, we're in Kolkata, we're in Bamo. Sure, they're in Mruak, but who cares? We've got Bay and Bengal.
Indeed.
Yeah, I don't care. Looking into builds, alert, a fleet build in Barbados. At that point, I think we decided, don't fight Kalina, because we need them to slow down the Spanish and act as a barrier. It's time to go up north in the Caribbean.
Yeah, and then we refocused back towards the French, which we were sort of already doing anyway. We were continuously trying to take Guadalupe, but it never really worked, unfortunately.
In West Africa, nothing ever happens. We're just setting up to prepare.
Yeah, but now begins the saga of the great Ayutthaya 3 dots in Africa that really shouldn't have been held for as long as they were held.
Yeah. It was a 2-dot investment, and we got 3 dots back, and it was lovely to see.
And we held it for what, the whole game? Like,
I think for most of the game.
we only ended up losing St. Louis at the very end, I think. But, like, the fact we were still holding it until that point is crazy.
Looking at East, another army Chiang Mai. This is for a convoy. Otherwise, it's all fleet built, including fleet Ayutthaya, which was supposed to go into Philippines. Because we realized we have to get into the Philippines as well. It's a rat race.
Yeah, and we wanted to own the Philippines.
I also believe at this point, we actually pieced out with Fireborn, who was the Dutch player, and went like, hey, sorry.
We're keeping Sumatra Lamau, but okay, we're good.
Mughals disbanded Mruak and Delhi, which was
kind
of crazy
strange.
to us.
Very, very strange. To be fair, I called those disbands, but only because I thought them disbanding anything else meant they instantly lost the game. Like, those were the only two. Yeah, because those were the only two disbands where they didn't instantly lose. Like, they might lose Delhi with those disbands, but they don't lose Surat, they don't lose Hyderabad, they don't lose Ahmedabad. Maybe getting Baghdad. Like, they have options on stuff to get. If they disband anything else, they just lose position too hard and they just die. I do understand those disbands, but yes, for us, they are incredible. They are such incredible disbands.
Because it meant we didn't have to worry about Pegu, save us another year.
To worry about Pegu potentially losing. We didn't have to worry about, like, Kolkata potentially getting retaken. We just sat pretty and happy, and we could just start pumping armies through into India.
Yeah, so let's go to the full moves. It's attacks into Venezuela Basin, which was, honestly, forgot we were there.
Yes, no, I really forgot that as well, and I really wish we took better advantage of that, because...
Well, no, I think we used it to take Guadalupe, I think, in the end.
Was that when we got...
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this was the year we got Guadalupe.
But, as you can clearly tell, Barbados is being cleared once again.
For yet another fleet build.
Fleet built. We have a bit of a oh shit moment in St. Louis, where we bounce Nuadhubu, but Argun moves to Sarawi, and we go, Bad.
Oh no.
We also see Army Kintia move to Gebe, and we're like, France and Portugal working together? This is bad. It wasn't looking great in West Africa. But also at that point, we kind of went, oh, West Africa's going to die eventually.
We were already calculating our win percentage around not having West Africa. The dots we were calculating for didn't include the 3 West African dots. So if we kept them, it was just a bonus.
I mean, that was really our entire strategy. The entire game is don't care about West Africa.
Yeah. Hold it if we can by not putting any effort into it.
I mean, hey, 2-dot investment, 3-dot full of the game. It's very good. Looking east, the bounce in Mindoro. This is the start of what I would like to call the frustrating Fireborn plays.
Yeah.
Where Fireborn, the Dutch player, guesses our moves.
Perfectly.
Did we conga line here? 100%. Now, I will note there is 100% a message from Fireborn saying that he thought that we were going to move South China Sea with like Nakhon backfilling or something. We tried to be sneaky. It didn't work.
I think me and you did have a talk about going Sulu Sea or Mindoro.
No. There was a reason for why we did Mindoro, and it was because if we didn't want the Mindoro, so they couldn't get access to South China Sea. I think was a reason.
There's a sequence of us doing some conga line bouncing here, and it ends in us not doing a conga line bounce, and it ends up fucking us really badly.
But we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But we end up going, we're conga lining too much, let's stop conga lining, and then immediately getting punished for not conga lining.
Yeah. Huan goes to Formosa. Fucking boring. Who cares? Like, it's just a dot. You know, we're happy to take it. Kolkata, we don't bounce Delhi here, because we go, let's get positioning on Delhi. And it worked. You'll notice we start to have the fight with Pondicherry and Gulf of Ceylon here.
Yes, so we tap Pondicherry to prevent the core, which was happening from the previous turn. And then the fight with Pondicherry and Andhra Coast begins, where from now on, basically every turn, Pondicherry will be tapping Andhra Coast, and Andhra Coast will be being support held by something to prevent Gulf of Ceylon and Pondicherry from taking Andhra Coast. And it never ends. We have so many fleets in the area that there's always at least something to hold Andhra Coast, even with us doing other stuff. And we set up for some convoys with Merak and Thanton, where we can convoy through Andaman Seal Bay and Bengal, and we just get set up for stuff. And it's the beginning of hell in this area. These seas are not good. I want Edge to change them.
This is like the last good year we had. Well, this is like the start of the bad years, I think. I think the next 3 years are just not the best.
Misery and pain, yeah.
But we got what we wanted. We got into Cocos Basin.
No, we didn't, because Fireborn tapped Sumatra. This was the start of Fireborn being a fucking annoying rat bastard. To be fair, did we bring it on ourselves? Maybe a little bit, but also, god damn it.
Yeah. Chickaholi moved down to Rajmahendri. Once again, England is stuck at 2 dots where Raichur gets disthinged. I think at this point, Mughals and Portugal were working together. Yeah, we move Orissa, we move Kolkata, we just try to get a line. We see here, Kesha moved to Sindh, which we were like, oh, that's why they did the disbands. because that meant that they could support hold Delhi to basically infinity. That's when we knew it was going to be a bit of a longer game than we thought.
Yeah, we realized that there was going to be a bit of pain in the ass because we had to get a third army in base. It was our idea.
Going to the next year's moves, we're in Guadalupe, baby! Let's fucking go!
Also, the beginning of us making incorrect calls.
Yes, we're going to look at those in a second. We're in Guadalupe. We've tapped Antigua. The Dutch come from behind into St. Martin, which we were very happy for because, less English, how the better. Kalina is pretty much gone at this point. In West Africa, Portugal and France work together and kick us out of Jacob's Fort. We kind of hoped that they were going to kick the French out of Cays. We didn't bet on them working together. Obviously, hindsight's 2020 in this regard. We asked Ottomans, which I think this was like one of their last units, to support Oldus in case the Spanish came for us. And then the Spanish didn't do anything.
Yeah, it was really weird.
And the Dutch didn't cover Cabo Verde. It was like a year of strange moves.
They decided to self-bounce Bermuda, which was the strangest decision.
Which did get them laughed at a lot in the voice call during adjudication. Mainly because the only person they were defending that from was an Ottoman fleet.
Yeah, it was an Ottoman fleet that was going to
die. But I think
regardless.
It was because they didn't want to lose their capital.
But that wasn't their capital. That's
Bermuda
not their, that's not their
Bermuda
capital.
Was their English
that's
capital.
England's capital. That they called.
Yeah. Also of note, we've skipped over it, the African Civil War starts happening, where Africa starts just going off each other through the Congo Basin.
Oh, right. Yeah, the previous couple moves, people have started actually moving into the Congo Basin. And goofy stuff is happening. Really, really goofy stuff is happening.
So currently it's Congo and Bornu, so purple and yellow, against Abyssinia and brown. But it's very up to debate on who's going to make it there, because both of them have very good strong positions. Looking east, we get into Mindoro. We get into South China Sea, we get into Tuna. Honestly, everything here is fine. This year in Indonesia, fine. It's India where things start to go badly. We didn't bet on Hyderabad getting supported up.
We were like, there's no way that they move. I don't remember, one of us was advocating for the convoy to Orissa, and the other one of us was advocating for convoy to Chikakole.
I can't remember which one of us was. Obviously, in hindsight, we should have gone Chikakole.
Yes, we should have gone Chikakole. Well, Chikakole was safe. We both knew Chikakole was safe. But we also were like, who's going to tap Hyderabad in this scenario? Because you can't tap it with Delhi.
Who's going to tap Hyderpura? Sorry.
Yeah, Hyderpura, yeah. Who's going to tap it? Because Delhi has to hold, can't tap it because otherwise, we attack.
And Hyderabad's trying to stay alive.
And Hyderabad's trying to stay alive. But I guess they just figured Hyderabad's lost anyway. So let's just pull out to thingy and guarantee us to get
But
in.
at the same time, Portugal occupying an English dot support holds England and Masulipatinam against our fleet.
Which is just why?
Frankly, inconceivable to us.
Yeah, that we just didn't see happening. We thought, for sure that I mean, we just take that dot. That was unbelievable. I mean, great play, but also unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And this was when we realized that Portugal was basically using England as a little, shield wall against anything else coming towards them from the north. And it was like, okay. Yeah, and also for some reason we decided to support hold Sumatra in this case, which I don't really know why we did, because we could have moved into Batavia or done a whole lot of other stuff.
We were playing safe after the Congo line failed, I think, and then we were like, oh.
Yeah, and then we continued to play safe, and it continued to hurt us.
Yeah.
Because we were playing aggressive, we were doing great. Every time we played aggressive, we did great. It was as soon as we started playing passive.
Obviously, apart from that Orissa convoy.
Yeah.
Looking at the Caribbean, we get into Montserrat, which has been a long-term goal. Now, you might be thinking, why did you not send Guiana Current into Montserrat? And the answer is always, we're opening up Barbados.
Again.
Also, Guiana Current basically acted as a massive blocker against the mid-Atlantic Ocean Dutch fleets. And we were worried that they'd come in and start attacking our home tiles there. Guadalupe gets tapped, nothing really happens.
We did have an argument for Guiana Current moving into, I think you'd suggested it moves down into Kalina's dot, but I was just like, no, they're always going to be self-bouncing because they're boring, and they've been doing it for the last 2 years.
And then you know what happened?
Self-bounce.
Self-bounce. Otherwise, what happens in West Africa, we get back into Jacob's Fort. We guess right the 50-50. We bounce the Spanish out of Senegal Estuary. We're pretty happy, I think. We regained some position here.
We kept our little French thing going. Spanish gets bounced out. It's great. We're back to our fun 3 dots, and the hyper war begins again.
Formosa goes back to Hugh Guang. There's a reason for this, and I'm gonna let Strawberry explain why we moved Hugh Guang instead of holding on Formosa.
Our original idea was where we were going to call Formosa, But we were worried about the Dutch moving Manila up into Luzon Strait, meaning they would have a guaranteed take on Hainan, and then they'd have a guaranteed take on Hanoi, and then they'd have a guaranteed take on Phan Rang maybe, or Guangxi, and we were just like, that is going to be a hell that we do not want to deal with. So if we move into Hugh Guang technically touches Hainan, and which means that it's a 50-50, and we always move into Hainan, and we give the Dutch Formosa guaranteed, to prevent the Dutch from getting into our home area. Super nice little move.
And we kept the Ayutthaya fleet in South China Sea.
Yep, we kept it in South China Sea, so we could backfill into Luzon Strait and then guarantee retake immediately Formosa from the Dutch. Effectively, they were never going to get anything. It was great.
This is also where we make the most critical error.
Was the mistake. This was the mistake.
The Tuna Sea, back for the Mindoro, and forgetting that Sulu Sea exists.
Yeah, Sulu Sea moved up the previous year. We'd seen it. We talked about it.
We were like, it's probably going to go to Cebu or Zambo.
Yeah, or to bounce out Philippine Sea. We expected a Philippine Sea bounce, and for some reason, I don't even know why either, because Malay's a terrible place to move. We moved Malay. Why we did that?
I think it was we wanted more protection on. We wanted to do Malay because we were going to move Sumatra out to Io, and it would be backfill. That was the plan. It was going to be backfill.
But also, we didn't want a convoy. We didn't want a conga line of Natuna Sea.
That was the reason why because Nakhon Sea had been trapped there for
Nakhon Sea had been trapped there for so long, and we wanted to build another fleet.
Incredibly ironic, because you'll see it then gets trapped there for the rest of the game.
Even worse, it gets trapped in Malay. And then Nakhon Sea gets worse. Us moving to Malay makes Nakhon Sea so much worse. It becomes
Nakhon Sea not going to Natuna Sea there, and us not believing in the Conga line. Critical error. Literally, probably game losing error.
We may have won this game if we didn't make that move.
Otherwise, we called Cotabato because why not?
Yeah. Also, this is the beginning of us doing copious amounts of needless coring, as well.
I think we were just bored and they didn't have anything else to do.
We were bored and they didn't have anything else to do.
Now, you might ask, why is Bunker sitting there and not going into Java Sea? Because we realized going into Java Sea was kind of the worst move we could make.
Yes. I done a bit of brainstorming around it. Any move where Java Sea ends up anywhere other than Java Sea, the Dutch immediately regained position on us. Mostly because pushing Java Sea out would allow Macassan to be unchained and allow it to come in. It would allow Flores Sea and Flores to be able to get in. It would remove any... Basically, Java was acting as a big cork on all the fleets that Dutch had and preventing them from getting in. It was really, really nice where it was, and we didn't want to move it until we went into Batavia. And we were being really, really reluctant to go into Batavia because we didn't want it to just get retaken.
Otherwise, let's look and see what happens in India with the Meruak to Bamo circle.
We had an idea that Delhi was going to tap. Sort of was our idea was Delhi was going to tap. And what we were going to try and have happen was Delhi tap Kolkata in this theoretical universe. So we tap Delhi, Kolkata, and we do a big circle. We rat ourselves into Delhi, in which afterwards we'd have an army in Bamo, an army in Merak, an army in Orissa, and an army in Delhi, and we would just be able to pop the Delhi army. Obviously, they don't.
The Kolkata army, sorry.
Yeah, the Kolkata army, which is really unfortunate. I seem to remember we sacrificed a core for that. And that core would have actually been really useful. I'm
not sure which core that. Let me look.
Pretty sure it was a Kolkata core. I'm pretty sure we were coring Kolkata.
But to be honest, the Kolkata core was always kind of occupied. I think if we look at the rest of the game.
Yes, but it would have been really nice had we, because we did eventually end up getting Delhi, and it would have been really good to then start pumping instead of Chiang Mai, which was a pain in the ass.
Another good point is we realized that English and Portuguese are kind of working together here, and we go, we don't need to be in Rajamahendra. Rajamahendra gets us no wins.
Number one, we don't need to be in Rajamahendra. Number two, us being in Rajamahendra is actively dangerous for us. Let's just leave.
And being in Cocos Basin was better than being in Rajamahendra, which is 100%. Why you see this kind of a conga line of us forcing ourselves into Cocos Basin.
It's a mostly guaranteed conga line.
Now, you'll be wondering, why didn't you go into Batavia? Which, again, we just had a conversation about. And the reason is because me and Strawberry had an argument where we advocate, I can't remember which one of us was, probably me, maybe you. I think it was you actually. I think it was you. I wanted to go Batavia, but you were like, no, let's put an extra support on Coco Spacin.
Yes, I wanted an extra support on Coco Spacing because I was worried that the Portuguese were going to. I was taking a gamble that the Portuguese weren't going to attack Andra Coast and they were going to attack Coco Spacin because last we'd been getting cucked out of Coco Spacin by the Dutch for 2 fucking turns. And I was like, we are getting into Coco Spacin. We need to get into Coco Spacin because it's the only universe in which we're able to actually dislodge this Gulf of Salem bullshittery that was happening. Misery and pain. And yes, that was the right call, thankfully. But
It was the right call. Looking at spring start, I think. Well, I mean, let's start as usual in the Caribbean this year. Montserrat gets supported into St. Martin. They support themselves into Guadalupe, which is support held, but everything bounces, so nothing happens there. We take Antigua, our captive core, which, if you look back at our previous year, you might have gone, why did Martinique just not move Antigua? And the reason was, being in Montserrat was more important than being in Antigua, because we needed to keep Guadalupe alive.
Yes, we needed to keep Guadalupe alive. And here, now it begins the saga of us supporting into St. Martin with Montserrat and Guadalupe clinging on for dear life would be the way I would describe it. But it would be the saga of Guadalupe clinging on for dear life because that's all it does. Every year, it's us tapping something, and that's the reason that Guadalupe doesn't get dislodged.
At the same time, we'd lose New Courland, which was a bit of a
pain.
We were a bit concerned about because, as you can see, Guiana Current has just moved to Montserrat, so we only have Barbados. What do we do here? Looking east into West Africa, St. Louis holds instead of going to Senegal Estuary, which I think was the correct decision. I have no issue with it.
I still think Senegal was the better play.
Yeah, I just don't like moving when there's a unit next door.
I agree. But also, if we move Senegal, we would have gotten the best of both worlds.
You'll also once again notice the Spanish walked out of Idjil to Arguin as a guest ROM. So at this point, the Spanish duo had become sort of a solo.
So Rooster, who was the original Spanish player, like either gave up on the game or couldn't play anymore or something, and
I think he was moving, and so he
and invited his friend or something to play, and then they took over.
And they were a perfectly lovely person to talk to.
New player.
Very new player. Which is why the strategy sometimes didn't really make sense. But to be honest, they just lost the 50-50 here. But also, Canaries was a safe take.
I was about to say, the only thing I would say is there's no universe where you ever tap Arguin here. Because Canaries, they always move Canaries. Canaries is just guaranteed. And it's also your core.
You'll also suddenly notice, we may have not covered this, Congo stabs into Bornu, which dramatically upsets the structure of the game, because previously it had been Bornu and Congo against Abyssinia and it basically stalemated. But now we're in a situation where Congo's sprinting up north into Bornu. Abyssinia and Bornu are kind of just chilling up in North Africa. Here in the east, we might as well go to the east here. I'm not going to look at what happens in Indonesia yet. Luzon Strait goes into Formosa. That's the plan. Bama goes into Huguang. Huguang goes to Hainan. The reason for this was we wanted, if it bounces, Bamo stays. If it doesn't bounce, we can do the take immediately. Manila supports Mindoro into Cebu, which gets cut. Oh well, it is what it is. And Natuna Sea walks into Sambas, which was the one dot we had decided not to cover in exchange for us supporting ourselves into Java Sea. Was that the incorrect move? 100%.
It's so annoying. This is the beginning of Fireborn guessing every move we made, every single time, never missed a beat, never got anything wrong, to the point where I started questioning whether Fireborn was one of our spectators. I was so confused, because some of the calls Fireborn makes are unprecedentedly good. They are so fucking good. Bro is a rat mind. I can't even be mad. It just played too fucking well.
You'll also notice we gave up on the Badger Marson core, but we did keep the Cotabatu core.
Yeah, we decided to keep with the coring theme and continued coring Cotabatu.
Malacca goes to Nakhon Sea. Malay covers Real. Obviously, they walk into Sambas. We go, oh shit. Java Sea gets supported into Sumatra here, and we lose Sumatra, I think.
We do lose Sumatra.
Yes, we lose Sumatra. It was a bad year. Iron Islands really should have support held. We should have just sat there.
Because this was the year I think that we started getting coalitioned, maybe? Was this the year we started
Yes.
getting coalitioned?
I think it was this year, the year or the year before, where we were like, oh, we're getting coalitioned. What we haven't said is basically for the last 5 years of the game, we were number one on the leaderboard.
Yeah, we have been number one on the leaderboard here for like, I don't know,
5 years.
5-6 years.
Like,
the most of the game.
We are getting close to hitting impunity, which was 100%, and then a 35%. 35%? I think it was 35% in between us and the next player.
The thing, if you have been watching the little leaderboard on the top, that you will have noticed is Amara wasn't there, then Amara appeared, then Amara was in number 2, and pretty soon Amara is going to be in number 1, and then Amara is going to be really in number 1.
Otherwise, looking at the rest of the Indian plays, Cocos Basin gets supported into Gulf of Ceylon, nothing happens. We bounce in Chikakole Convoy. I actually don't think we were mad about this. I think we were happy for the bounce in Chikakole.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good at the same time. We preferred to get the convoy in, obviously.
We could have supported it in with Andra Coast, I think.
But
I
we
think
could have, but we wanted
thought
the Cocos Basin move in.
Because we thought Cocos Basin being Gulf of Ceylon would have been, we can start making moves.
But again, Portugal makes the right call here as well and holds Gulf of Ceylon. There was a ton of moves that happened in a short space of time where we made every wrong call and they made every right call. And it's 3 or 4 years in a row where it happens. It's horrible. It's horrible. We had a great tempo and a pace where we were just continuously gaining dots and we just completely lost it.
We see here, this is the point where I definitely felt like we were in coalition when England just got to walk into Surat. And I was like, oh, okay.
Something here is not right.
Bandarabas moves back to Sindh to form the impenetrable wall once again. We'll see how that goes. That was actually the end of a year. So we actually have do we have builds?
Well, we had a disband this year. I think that was the first.
We had a disband. It was, I think, our first disband of the entire year, the entire game.
Only disband.
I think we disbanded a random army, I think, at the end.
We disbanded the Hanoi, like the one that recaptured Formosa.
So we see here is Higuang supports Luzon Strait to Formosa. You might be wondering, why didn't you do the army? It's because we thought, Higuang can go west.
Yeah. It makes it one step closer to get back, basically.
I think the reason was like Luzon Strait could then go immediately to Wake Island. Obviously, hindsight, maybe we could have done it the opposite.
Keeping the fleet there would have been good.
Manila supports into Cebu. At this point, Spain, again, supports themselves fully into Halmahera. They go full on Halmahera.
I don't really know why they pull out of Sulu here. Pulling out of Sulu here is really strange.
I think they were trying to get lines on Manado.
But again, it's a really, really strange move that makes very little
sense.
But
we didn't complain.
Yeah, we didn't complain at all. It was great for us because Cebu was free. And also, it made Cotabato safe again, which we realized at this point was not very safe. Because we had quite a worry that Cotabato was going to get taken this year by Spain.
In terms of our moves, Bunker got supported into Sambas, which got dislodged. Riau Islands, Malay, and Andaman Islands we tried to get Malay into Sumatra. That bounced with the Dutch, which frankly was okay. Because at the end of the day, I think for Ayutthaya, it was a fleet that's not us in Sumatra is bad. No fleet or us in Sumatra is good. And we just have a lot of fleets locked up on here. The Andra Coast Cocos Basin Wall has formed here. This is the weirdest move. Delhi disbanding. And then Mughals letting us just walk into Delhi. Yeah, we, to this day, don't know why. Yep.
That was a weird one. And then in our press with Fireborn, I remember saying Mughals rolled themselves, and it really just shows, because every move the Mughals made was either stalling or actively making their position worse. It was so strange.
Get supported by Portugal into England. Once again, the Portuguese English Mughal
shithousery relationship
again doesn't make any sense. We were fine with it, though, because it means Ninja Pro was out of position. We got a convoy safely into Chikakole. Andra Coast, Cocos Basin, held. No dramas. Looking at West Africa, France supports Spain into Jacob's Fall. Not something we fully expected, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Again, it was, like we previously said, 3 dots for 2 dot investment.
We weren't caring at all about South Africa.
Oh no.
It's like, oh no,
anyway.
It's lost. Okay. Well, okay. Oh, big deal. And then, Gulf of Paria happens.
They move into Gulf of Paria, which we've thankfully covered by moving Guyana Current to Tobago. Barbados is once again very happily cleared. And we again hold Guadalupe. The Guadalupe wall
by
stays.
The skin of our teeth. Again.
Either way, no complaints in the Caribbean. Kind of all went to plan. Gulf of Paria, a little bit scary, but because we dislodged New Courland, everything was fine. Spring moves, here we go. Gulf of Paria moves to Guyana Current. Huh? I think at the end of the day, I think we realized this was for them to try to get lines on Guadalupe. We throw the Spanish support into Caracas, which they don't take. Fair enough. Yeah, would have been nice if they took Caracas. Guadalupe holds again by the skin of its teeth. West Africa, we're like almost back at Jacob's Fort. That was nice.
Yeah, we're back in Jacob's Fort again. Continuing sequence of why, how, and what.
Formosa, we've taken. We pushed Manila out to Philippine Sea. This is so that we can start getting angles south. Cotabato.
Oh my god, okay. Fireborn predicting us so fucking well, it's inconceivable, part 2. We were going, well, we're going to have to do the same 50-50, well, triple on Natuna again. And Cotabato's not in that triple. Because why would we move Cotabato? It can't, like, we're never moving Cotabato here. In no universe is Cotabato. Everyone knows Cotabato is not going to get moved. So what do? We move Cotabato. What does Fireborn do? Moves to Cotabato. Like, just like, what the fuck?
Pain
and suffering, misery. Like, what the fuck? How? Like, and it was a last minute order as well, according to King Dander.
It was a last minute order.
All of these were last minute orders, and it's just like, bro, how are you so good? Stop it. How are you such a rat?
We also get a bit of an advantage here, and once again we bounce out Sumatra.
Yeah, we bounce out Sumatra, but Cocos gets dislodged, which is amazing.
Which we were okay with.
Because we get Iron 04.
India. We get to a Medabad somehow.
Yes, this is my doing, actually. I remember this one. This is my best move of the whole game. I was like, there is no point in us just holding Delhi, because it's not going to get taken anyway. Why don't we just tap a Medabad? Because a Medabad can get supported into Surat right now from the fleet and the army. So I was like, fuck it, what's wrong with us just tapping a Medabad here? Because either it stops them getting into Surat, or they get into Surat, we get a Medabad, and then Orissa moves to Delhi, and then we get Surat the next turn. And I was just like, yeah, fuck it, why not? And then I did it, and then it worked, and I was like, let's go, yippee!
Yeah, it was nice seeing that. It was nice having that little win amongst the Cotabato depression.
Yeah, no, that was major victories, like, amongst the what the hell.
It was a we're so back after it's so over.
Yeah, it was we were in the big it's so over slump, and seeing that I was like, we're back. We still got it, baby, still got it.
Looking at full start, Barbados has once again built a fleet. No, I think this might be the last time Barbados built a fleet.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7. Yeah, we built 7 fleets in the Caribbean. So yes, this is the last one.
Our goal for this year is basically hold Guadalupe at all costs, try to get Caracas.
Yeah. Our expansion path was Caracas, yeah.
Looking east, again, we're in the pack. We're just kind of like, do we go to Nadak? Do we go to K's? I think in the end we decided to go to Nadak and just try to hold our 2 dots. But that's me guessing. I'm sure I'm going to find out when I
think this was the point where we committed to we're losing this. We're just going to hold the other 2, and if we lose them, it doesn't really matter. We can just disband them anyway. Just like pop them.
Yeah, looking east, Sumatra. Now, everyone might think, oh, you've lost Cotabato. That's awful. But it actually wasn't, because they're not in Sumatra, and we then have such a good line on Sumatra. It's not funny.
Yeah, we did have 7
because they had
fleets.
They had 4, which we could all tap against like 7.
Yeah. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, it was 6 fleets. Jesus. Oh yeah, and then of course, crying Nakonsi West Coast completely trapped, and that doesn't move for the rest of the game because of our fumbles in the tuna.
Fall moves, or as I like to call it, my depression.
Immense suffering and pain. Was this where the major fuck up happened, I should say?
The major fuck up, yeah. So let's just look at the good stuff.
And then we'll get to
Caribbean.
Me being an absolute moron. Yep, okay.
Caribbean. Cool. We end up actually holding Guadalupe.
Again.
Because Venezuela Basin doesn't tap Ava's Ridge, and St. Martin isn't supported into Guadalupe because France and Netherlands aren't working together. If France had supported Netherlands in, we would have lost that.
No, we wouldn't have, though, because St. Martin would have been tapped, so we would have actually still kept Guadalupe even if St. Martin had...
No, but if St. Martin had been the one to attack...
Oh, St. Martin... Yeah. Well, that's true for every other year of holding Guadalupe, but the French never let them do that, even though it would have broken our position.
Barbados gets supported into New Courland, once again, claiming Barbados. New Courland gets just a free ride into Gulf of Paria. Not what we expected. We actually expected it to bounce.
Yeah, we expected them to move Caracas into Gulf of Paria.
But at the same time, yeah.
Because we were going to support with Tobago, but Tobago decided to support New Courland, actually. Yeah, because we wanted to guarantee we got into New Courland if Gulf of Paria succeeded.
Which was a you decision, I remember.
Yeah.
During our conversation.
Yeah.
We'll obviously get to it later on. But what this turn was me entering in all the orders, Strawberry entering in all the orders, slightly different, and then us having a conversation about it, in which we actually figured everything out, but we didn't then update the orders to those updated orders.
Some of the orders I updated, and then I forgot to update one order. I forgot to update one, and it fucked us really, really badly. Yeah, so Formosa...
I mean, I'm looking at West Africa right now. We got into Nadak. It's chill. Who cares? Formosa. Where was Formosa supposed to go, Strawberry?
It was meant to go to Luzon Strait, and we talked about it going into Luzon Strait, and then I started writing up a message to update our orders, and I typed out the change to the fleet supports, and I wrote up the change to the Chicacole support, and I wrote up the change to the Bamo move, and I wrote up the change to the Natuna Sea move. I did not write up the change to the Formosa move. And Formosa went to the wrong place. And lo and behold, the thing that we knew was going to happen, happened. And we were in a terrible position where we couldn't protect Manila. I say couldn't protect, harder to protect, but actually still fine. It was actually fine. But like, Okinawa Trough it's good, sort of, but also bad.
Looking elsewhere, we once again have a Fireborn guest that fucks us in the Tuna Sea. The rat.
A little bit more context to this.
Yeah.
Dyer had put in the supports for these two orders. And my brain, when I read them, I was just like, okay.
No, to be clear, the support was Riau Island.
Riau Island supports in the Tuna Sea, and then Sambas supports into Banca. I saw those, and when I retyped out the orders, I typed them in the order I read them, which I was reading them counterclockwise or whatever. But You're
reading them like map-based, I assume.
Yeah, and I did Banjarmasin supported by Riau and Sambas supported by Natuna. Two reasons, I think, because I found the line at the time funnier to draw, because I got to do a little curvy. And also, I think it looked nicer or something. And I was just like, it doesn't really matter because they're both the exact same support. It's not going to matter if they get tapped because at the time, context, I'm writing a Diplobot and the rule set, as I understood it for this move, was, well, if a unit is tapping a supporting unit of another move, if it's dislodged, the support doesn't get cut because it's dislodged. I was wrong about that. The support does get cut. Really weird subsection rule. The only reason I didn't know about it is in the main diplomacy rule set guidelines test cases. I haven't gotten yet to the section about support cutting. So I haven't done the test cases for weird, really specific, hyper-specific unit gets cut by X unit while also supporting another unit cases. It's horrible. I hate it. I'm so annoyed. But yeah, no, it did end up mattering that I switched the supports for no really good reason. Horrible.
Either way, we get into Bunker, but we don't get into Tuna, which then leads to a bit of a conga line fuck up. Netherlands is able to push into Sumatra. I don't think we cared at that point because what we decided was INO, which was another one of our. I wanted to go into Madagascar.
Okay, basin. Yeah. We should probably talk about this actually now because this is going to happen 2 years in a row. Dyer was advocating for Madagascar Basin, which would give us Fort Delphin 100%.
Because if we get into Madagascar Basin, it's free, basically.
Well, yes, it was free. It was free both years. And I understood that. He understood that. We both understood that it was free. I didn't want to do it because, number one, it takes the fleet that we needed in position, we're out of position, and also it traps that fleet in Madagascar, which I thought was horrible in all cases. So I didn't want to do it. The second year of this, I advocated to moving to Dirk Hartog. Sorry, the second turn of this, I should say, the fall turn, spring turn. Because that army moved out into the outback, and I assumed it wasn't going to move back into Dirk Hartog. So I wanted to move to Dirk Hartog, but we never ended up doing that. We ended up tapping Gulf of Myanmar in the off chance that Portugal wouldn't cover it. Obviously, they were going to cover it, but there's a chance.
Yeah, I think our thoughts was that Yakety would cover Goa.
But it just ended up not. Yeah.
It just ended up not.
Which is very strange. And then, Ahmedabad moves into Surat with support from Delhi. We were just trying to...
we
were trying to finish
it was a bit of frustration there. I think that Gulf of Mannar didn't work out, I think. I mean, otherwise Andhra Host once again held. Chicacole ended up getting into Rajmahendri. Bamo rotated around to Kolkata. Nothing happened. Was nothing happened, kind of, yeah.
India, the Natuna Sea failed, which means the Malay failed, and that Nakhon Sea, sad fleet in Nakhon Sea on the west coast is still there on the west coast.
So looking at full start, we're in a position where we've got a French fleet in Montserrat, which is not what we want, but we're in St. Martin. It's a bit weird. We've got line on Caracas, which we're very happy to exploit. We're chilling in West Africa, and in India, we're kind of just hunting for dots. At this point in the game, the previous year, we were not in the impunity range by 1 dot. Or not in the challenger range by 1 dot.
We were not preventing Aymara from winning.
But at the same time, Aymara did not solo the previous year by 1 dot to Congo. So our current goal at this point was to just do as well as we could and try to get into Challenger.
It was trying to get, I think, like 5 dots or something to prevent Aymara from winning the following turn, so then we could catch up and get a dual victory or a trio victory with Congo.
Or just trying to do something, I think.
Yeah. And, no, it didn't happen. Didn't happen
this year, which if we look at the moves...
Because we continued to get screwed a little bit.
Yeah, so this point, we bounce Manila, which was really nice, which is just really good. Looking elsewhere... we're in Banjarmasin. We actually ended up in Sumatra, which was funny. We ended up taking the Tuna Sea. Basically, all our orders worked. We hold Andhra Coast.
And the sad West Coast fleet stays yet again. Because Fireborn, again, taps Melee, which means sad, unfortunate West Coast fleet that can't do literally anything because it's completely trapped.
Really should have built East Coast there, but...
No. That wasn't a build. That was us from protecting from the Tuna Sea.
We moved like or something, wasn't it?
We moved Malacca Strait into West Coast because we had to protect against the from the Natuna Sea Dutch fleet, because that was the year we lost Sambas. That was the year the fleet moved. It was horrible.
Raja Mahendri taps Hyderabad, and then it seems there's obviously a miscommunication here between Mughals and Portugals on what happens.
Yes, because some weird ass supporting happens.
Yeah, well, we threw a support apparently. Well, Andhra Coast threw a Hyderabad to Masulipatam support.
Yes, we did. Because funny.
Either way, works out fine for us. No complaints. We don't take a Medabad in this case. We don't take Surat. Nothing happens. In West Africa, nothing happens. In the Caribbean, we take Caracas and we hold Guadalupe, but we lose St. Martin. So overall, pretty strong win.
Yeah, and thing to note here, we get into Philippine Sea, but we are ratted in Luzon Strait by another different Aymara fleet. Now we have 2 ratting fleets. It's just
But that makes it into the game.
Yes,
looking at the leaderboard, Aymara sitting at 47 out of 36 dots, 135.5% VSCC rate. Ayutthaya, us, coming in at 84.4%, with Congo down at 75%. As Congo, the previous year, they just lost dots. I'm not entirely sure. I think they lost dots to the French.
They lost a dot to the French. They lost from a ratting French army. They
basically just didn't get any gains, I think was one of the big parts of it.
Yeah, they didn't get any gains. They lost a couple. And then that just caused them to fall. But
of course got us up into second, which we were very happy to see.
Yeah, they went -1. They lost because of a ratting French fleet. That's kind of funny.
Overall, I was really happy with how that game went. Obviously, it was 3-4 months, I think, of play. We did have some grace periods. It did last a little bit.
Every single turn was a grace. There was always a grace. There was never a turn that didn't have a grace. It was miserable. We'll find out. I'm going to find out who it was. One of you, and you know who you are, were gracing. I know one of you were, and I'm going to fucking find out which one of you it was. Because in a couple days, the channel's open, and we're going to know. Everyone's going to see. You will be named and shamed.
I think, obviously, we've talked a lot about how that Kolkata play by England at the start really helped us, but it really just helped us springboard into India. I think our Caribbean play was really well. I think we ended up actually over-investing in the Caribbean, like our WAF dot ended up being invested there.
We could have just not, to be fair, we could have just not done the 7th fleet and nothing really would have changed, but I honestly think...
I don't think we get Caracas with that.
Yeah, true. No, I think we did fine with the Caribbean. The Caribbean was just our consistent, just we invest what we gain area. Yeah. And we don't lose anything.
It was, I think, our one happy place, I think.
Yeah, it was our one
amidst all the chaos. WAF was WAF. I remember going into the start, my first ever call with you, Strawberry, about the game. I think I remember saying, we don't care about West Africa.
No.
And we just kind of ran with that. And I think that was...
Because day one, we initially started with, hey, Portugal, let's trade. We'll give you West Africa, you give us your 1 dot. So, and we just with no fight. And then, yeah, no.
Portugal said no.
Portugal said no.
I think.
Portugal said no and then got clapped for it. And it was so satisfying.
I mean, yeah, when you're starting off as a 1-dot colony, it's kind of like you can't have those expectations too high, right? Overall, I mean, at the end, with our position in Indonesia, yeah, we don't have Kota Batu, but we're in a pretty strong position, I think, to keep making moves. Aymara fleets are on their way. They occupy all 5 points of the South Pacific Ocean.
Which, to be fair, we do have a buffer from, which is really nice and another great thing about our position.
Yeah, we weren't really, apart from IO, these high seas tiles weren't really like a massive issue for us.
Yeah, we never had to really interact with them. Even in the Caribbean, we had sort of a buffer. The closest we ever came was Montserrat, but like that just never really happened either. We never got tapped there. Nothing ever happened.
I mean, I have to say, a big thank you to everyone who did play the game.
I will say,
sorry, yeah, you go.
Dander has made a map of failed cores, and I will say we are looking awfully red. And for some reason, Bay of Bengal is also red. That's awesome. So many failed cores from us.
It's not great, is it?
Yeah, a bit.
We got our Andaman Islands core, and then we kind of got stuck because we couldn't get out of it. But either way, I'm pretty happy with where our cores were. I think, obviously, there was a point where we could have cored West Africa. We could have done another core in West Africa. There was a point where we could have just cored, I think, St. Louis or Nadak and just, got another core up. That might have helped us.
That might have helped, but we didn't. We decided to do an aggressive play and it didn't work.
Yeah. And overall, I think I'm really happy with this game. I'm going back to what I was saying. Big thanks to everyone who did play. From Fireborn, probably our arch nemesis of the game, our sometime ally, sometime enemy. Portugal, who was probably our biggest opponent, and I actually really enjoyed playing against. It was really nice. We didn't press much, but it was really good, just kind of the gameplay. Mughals, I'm very sorry for stabbing you 3 times in a row. We couldn't really help it.
No, I'm not.
He's not sorry.
No, I'm not sorry.
Which will bring me back to Fireborn. I will remind you that this guy's the bad guy, not me.
I heavily advocated for attacking Fireborn, but that doesn't mean I'm bad. That doesn't mean I'm bad. I'm just a silly little guy.
Obviously, we have to talk about who won the game. Naxos.
Bloody Aymara going from nothing to everything in 5 turns. Basically is what happened.
Aymara is a bit OP.
Exploded. Absolutely exploded. To be fair, Bro's neighbors imploded. They died rapidly.
Well, Spain just killed Tehuelche, like, immediately. And so Guarani was just eaten, I think, by Portugal and Aymara.
Yeah, Tehuelche just got Spain ratted at the start of the game, like Mughals got ratted by England, and just they died. They lost their capital and one of their cores immediately. Couldn't build any fleets and just died. I feel so.
Ottomans, probably one of the bigger disappointments of the game.
Yeah, got a bit rolled.
They could have done a lot better, but I think really the Bornu placement really messed with their play.
Really wasn't very nice for them.
There will be a video coming out shortly after this one releases, which is me interviewing Dander about version 3 of this map, which does fix a lot of those issues, which I look forward to.
Hopefully it should be more balanced.
I'm hoping so too. But Aymara, Naxos played really well. It is something to be said that Naxos was a sub to the Aymaran role. He jumped in there, gave it all he got, and played very well. It is also of note, this is also the second time that Naxos has won Southern Imperial Diplomacy. He was previously a substitute for the Ottomans, who then went on to solo. This is the second solo by Naxos, and I believe it's only his 4th game of diplomacy.
Bro is a bit good, maybe.
Bro's a bit good. He presses a lot and he sends cat gifs. We can't complain.
A chat with Naxos is littered with cat gifs.
Littered. I mean, yeah, I think the big disappointments, if I was going to say something, would be Ottomans, England, and the South American regionals.
Yeah.
Except for Aymara.
Second year subbed out for Naxos. So almost immediately.
England, I think, could have done a lot better. But they were put in a tricky position in India where they had a strong Portugal and they were just kind of getting squeezed.
Both, it didn't help that Cassie, who was playing England, never pressed, combined with the fact that they were doing ratty plays that weren't going to gain long-term dots, combined with the fact they were losing everywhere. It made sense, but it was unfortunate.
Obviously, Guarani held out for quite a while, which was played by Bean, I believe. try to play their best, but when you're stuck in that kind of position against an Aymara, a Portugal, and a Tualche all trying to get dots off you, and you get cut out of the triangle of trust, you lose. Kalina, again, got smashed up by Aymara of Spain and Netherlands at the same time, as well as us. I think our play at the start between Netherlands and Spain went really well, with us kind of getting Spain to fight the Netherlands and then kind of jumping on them as soon as we wanted to. I think that really worked out well for us. I think probably would have wanted to put more fleets out east, but I think we couldn't really at the start because we didn't want to spook Spain.
We were trying to hold the line of keeping one of them friendly at each time, but yeah, it ended up being neither of them ended up being very friendly, but Spain was so weak at the point that they were both, it didn't really matter.
Do you have any final thoughts?
All my thoughts of that game are Fireball and you absolute rat.
Thank you very much for coming along, Strawberry.
Incredible levels of shitposting.
Obviously, looking forward to doing more diplomacy with you in the future. And thank you everyone for watching. This video will come out hopefully before the end of January with a follow-up video, probably with Strawberry, about some of the press we've done. I'm hoping we'll get released.
Some of our press is glorious.
Mainly with Fireborn, I will admit.
Fireborn mostly, yes. Fireborn mostly.
Might end up being like some kind of meme video. We'll have to see how it goes. And then my interview with Danda about Imperial Diplomacy, or Southern Imperial Diplomacy version 3. Danda labels South Imperial Diplomacy a word of tension. He's not wrong. It's a very tense game.
No, though I will say it doesn't suffer the problem that Hellenic suffers, where every single dot is contested, which personally I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, well, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Hivemind is gone.
Right, Mr. Walters?